Hi everyone, it's Danny. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm super excited to be participating in the Scraptember series with Laura Alberts and the Scrappy sisters, Jess and Katie, and they are doing a video every day over on their channels, so definitely go check those guys out. I'll leave the links in the description box below. And today I am joining them for the hexagons prompt. So every day is a new prompt, and I chose hexagons because I knew I had probably just enough papers left in my Pebbles Hey Hello collection to cobble together a layout using some hexagons. So I have a few of the pattern papers left, just scraps. A couple of them have larger scraps, but a lot of them are just very small pieces that I've been saving for a layout like this. And I have to say, I think I have one layout left in this collection once I have finished this one. Even though I have basically no papers left, I have a lot of branding strips left. So I kind of want to do a branding strip layout. And then I think this collection will be well and truly killed. I have got a lot of use out of it. I'm really pleased with how much I've used it. But yeah, it's just about at the end of its life now. So I am just going through now and trying to figure out how to cut my photo into a hexagon without making a complete mess of it. And I just decided in the end just to wing it and hope that I didn't chop her head off with cutting that corner, and I didn't. So luckily I did print this photo at home, so I could have just printed another one if I did chop her head off, so I wasn't too worried. But what I've done is just taken that corner and I am using that to mark the rest of my photo corners so that they're all even. And I do end up coming through and trimming it down again a little bit just to make sure that it's exactly the right kind of shape that I was looking for. I'm really just eyeballing the shape of it. This is a photo of my little Violet playing in the, it looks like a sprinkler, but my husband's actually just holding the spray hose above her head and watering the plants, and she just loves to put her hands in the water and yeah, so I thought this collection would be a good one to use for this photo because it's very kind of floral and outdoors and pretty, and it matches the colors in her dress really nicely. So what I am doing now is just I've cut a bunch of squares out of all the pattern papers that I had enough of to cut a square out of, and trying to vary the colors and patterns as best as I could with what I had left. So I'm just doing the same thing with the squares. I have just pinched the top in half roughly so I could find the center, and then just snipping off a corner and trying to get them as close to the right shape as I want. They're all going to be different sizes, so they don't have to be perfect. If they were all going to be the same size, I would probably cut them out of my Cameo or used a punch just to make sure that they were all exactly the same, but I want to vary the size. So the best way to keep it symmetrical is just to use that first corner like that, just hold it against each corner and use it as a guide. And I'm just using my scissors. I haven't used a Cameo or any punches or anything that you would think of as a specialized tool or piece of equipment. I've literally just used my scissors and my mini guillotine, which was definitely optional. I just found it a little bit easier to cut that first cut with that to make sure it was nice and straight. And now I'm just going through and distressing all the edges because these are hand cut, and here's a tip for you. If you're going to hand cut polygons like this that have very regular straight sides and you're worried that they're not going to line up right, distressing the edges will really help you because you're just softening those straight harsh lines, and it won't be as noticeable if things don't fit together exactly right. So my stupid camera keeps cutting out of me. I don't know why, so you missed this part. But what I've just done is taken some Vicky Bouton foundation mixed media backgrounds, the pre-made ones. So all those streaks, those 4 blocks of color and the dribbles were already on the paper, and I've just added some splatters of gold Kaiser mist and some big yellow watercolor drops. So I just added lots of water to my watercolors and then loaded up my brush and then just sort of splattered it straight down in a kind of vertical motion. Get those big drops, and then I've let it dry. Now I'm coming in with all my hexagons and I'm just going to kind of lay them out, get a bit of an idea of how I want them to sit. I know I want my photo there. That doesn't move. She's facing across the page, so which is what I really like. I like that kind of flow across the page, and I'm just trying to position all those hexagons so that they float in that same kind of downward diagonal, but that I don't cover too much of that background because I really love that background. I love this mixed media paper. It's amazing, and it's especially amazing when you add your own mixed media to it because it's so It's heavy and sturdy and beautifully textured. It's a really beautiful mixed media paper. I can highly recommend it. So I'm just playing around with these hexagons still. I've laid a couple of them up. I cut way too many and I knew I had. I did that on purpose so that I'd have plenty to choose from. So the extra ones I just kind of layer up with the ones that they fit nicely size-wise. And that just helps to add some more interest and layers to the page as well. And this is pretty much how I'm going to have it. I'm just going to start gluing everything down, and I'm just adding wet glue to the center of the hexagons and sticking them down that way so the edges still lift up a little so that the whole page doesn't look so flat. So I'm going to add some foam behind my photo just to make it stand out a little bit. And here I've realized I actually cut my foam into an octagon. And I'm trying to figure out how to make it fit on there, but it's small enough that it fits okay. But I was laughing about that. So just sticking that down, and then everything else I am just going ahead and doing the same thing. A bit of glue in the center and sticking down. Now I was thinking about adding some machine stitching, and I actually really wanted to, but I was sharing my craft space, and my craft space is actually my home office, and I was sharing it with my husband this day, and some noises really really distract him, and the sewing machine is one of them. So if I could have, I would have added some stitching around the outside edge of some of these hexagons, and I probably still could, but it's in the album. Well, it's put away in the tub that I store them in for my layout chairs, so it's there now. I'm not going to pull it back out and add any more. And I do just come in with some pen details anyway in a minute. So I'm using my white Uniball Signo, and I'm tracing just a sketchy border around a couple of these hexagons. And then I'll come in with my black pen. I'm going to add some faux stitching to a few of these little hexagons. I do end up covering this one I'm working on right now. I cover that up a little bit in the end because it's just a bit, I don't know, it's very bold red, and it's the same red as in that one I just did at the top there that's behind the pink one, but I think with the pink layered over the top it helps soften it. But you'll see in a minute anyway. So I'm coming in now with my title because I know where I want it to go, right on that big yellow empty hexagon there. And I'm going to spell out sweet. And I've used a lot of these stickers, but I actually had enough E's for this title, which I'm amazed by. I really didn't think I would. So my title is going to be Our Sweet Pea. And I kind of thought that the sweet part of the title goes with the hexagons because they're, you know, they kind of remind me of honeycomb. That's the one. Especially that yellow pattern paper there that I'm building my title on actually has a honeycomb pattern in the background. And I do add some sweet little bees to the layout. But I thought the title made sense because, you know, we're watering flowers even though they aren't actually sweet peas. But sweet pea is one of our nicknames for our little daughter. Well, I call her that a lot. So I finally used up that whole sheet of those florals. I'm really excited to have used up a sheet of the stickers. I've used a lot of the stickers, but I think that's the first sheet I've actually used up all the way. So I just tucked those underneath either side of that hexagon. I'm adding some foam squares just underneath the edges to lift those up. And now I'm coming in with some of the ephemera. I don't embellish super heavily on this page. I think all the shapes going on already is quite a lot. So I'm just going to add this sweet little pink bow at the top there. I'm going to add this little raccoon. Now my camera does cut out in a minute, so I'll kind of talk through what you miss. But I swapped that raccoon die cut out for the sticker because some of the die cuts aren't cut very well, so the border on him is very wonky. So I just swap him out right about now. There we go. And I've layered up a little cupcake over him as well. That's up on foam, a little cupcake sticker. And I've added a little cupcake die cut to that wood grain hexagon. And then I'm just popping down this little sprig in a mug sticker. And then I'm going to go ahead and pop down my little bees. These are actually just fussy cut from one of the pattern papers. I'm all out of all the bees stickers. I've used a ton of them. There were heaps in this collection, but I have used them all. And I'm just popping those up on foam dots as well. Next, I'm going to add some of these little hearts from the 6x12 stick sheet. I'm amazed I have any of these left, but there were a lot on there. So I'm going to go ahead and get some of those used up. I'm just going to add 2 little groups of 3 hearts at the top and the bottom here. And then the last thing I'm going to do is just come in with some more of that white gel pen and add another little sketchy detail onto that red hexagon and pop in another little leaf sprig sticker to help tone that red down a bit. And that's my layout finished. Thank you so much for joining me. Close-ups are coming up. Don't forget to check the description box for links to the other ladies' amazing channels, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys!